Hi everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Stamping. This is a place where we come together to chat, to connect, and to create together. We have lots of fun, and a lot of you love to just chat back and forth, and I love the community that we've already started here. So make sure that you are saying hi as you pop on. My name is Lillian with Stamper's Niche, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada. So I am so glad to have you here. Do take a moment to say hello, and even if you're watching the replay or watching on YouTube, the fact that you take a moment and say even the word hi or hello, it means the world. So that just if you could do that, that would be wonderful. Today's date is August the 5th, 2024. Here in Alberta, it's Heritage Day, so it's a long weekend, so a lot of people might be busy, but it's also been rainy today. The rest of the weekend was pretty good. Thunderstorms and rain rolled in last night, and it rained all night, and it's raining now, or it was a few minutes ago. It's been a cloudy day, but we desperately needed the rain, so we're not going to complain, even if it is a long weekend. So as I go down to my desktop and all the different things I have to share with you tonight, one of the things I'm going to concentrate or share with you tonight is finding ideas for your crafting projects. So I know that some of you have great ways of finding that too. So as you're saying hi, maybe say, how do you find an idea when you're stumped for an idea? How do you find an idea for that crafting a project? Okay, so let's go down to my desktop and let's see here. Oops, there we go. Oh my goodness, sorry. It's supposed to be flipping. There we go. And where do you find your ideas? All right, let's hear where you find yours, as I'm getting things just a little bit organized. For some reason, I can't get my camera in the right spot. It'll do just there. There, that'll do. Always good, right? So thanks for saying hi. It's so good to have you here. And what we're sharing is where we find our ideas. So regardless of when you're watching this, we would love to hear where you find your ideas. All right, I see that I'm even on my computer, so there's a good sign. And there we go. Get my shirt out of the picture. And excellent. So find inspiration on Pinterest. Yes, that is a super place to find inspiration. Now, here's the question. How often do you spend a little more time on Pinterest than you bargained on? But there are great ideas there. Oh, and for my videos like mine, well, thank you very much. Speaking of videos, last week's video, we made this card, and it was inspired by this card layout. And then I shared this, and then I also shared this as a variation of that. So have you tried this yet? I know that I see Fran's on. I know Fran is trying it, and some of you have tried. I'd love to see pictures if you've tried this layout. So as you know, this last week or week and a half since the Olympics started, I've been a bit focused on metallics. And so I had a contest, not a contest, pardon me, a random draw that I offered this last week on Facebook. And it was to share a project that used metallics. And it didn't have to be a lot. It could be a little. It could be a lot, whatever. So I have a package for the lucky winner here. It's a sampler of the textured metallic specialty paper. And congratulations, Carolyn. Your name was drawn. So you might say, well, what is that paper? I don't recall it. So it's textured foil paper. You can see how it catches the light here, but the bit of texture adds even more to your crafting project, and it comes in gold, copper, and tungsten. So those are the colors, and I'm finding I use them about equally, believe it or not. So just in case, I think I showed last week, but just in case you're not sure where they are in the catalog, if you look on page 110, they are shown right down here. And then you see your silver and some of the other metallics here. So that is just something to be aware of. Sometimes we can't find what we're looking for. And I know some of you are saying, where did that little tag come from? Well, that little tag I created with the Keeping Tabs bundle. This is one of the bundles that you have a choice of either a punch or a die. And with this one, I chose the punch because I just thought it would be more useful for me. I've been tempted to get both, I have to admit, because they both have their purposes. But this is it. So they also have tabs that you can stamp, and then this just goes right in like that. But they have great words too. So even if you weren't looking for the tab part, it's a really multi-purpose stamp set, just in case you were missing that one. So let's move these out of the way and just highlight a few things. There seems to be a lot going on right now. I have a couple of Christmas card classes going on. So first off, I offered an in-person class, and you can register here until the end of the day tomorrow. Cutoff day is tomorrow. But then I had several people say, can't you do a to-go class? So I am going to do a Christmas in August to-go class as well. And you have until Saturday to register for that. So those are the two links. Either I'll put these links in the comments afterwards, or you might want to use your camera on your phone and get one of these. Now, I've just had a person reach out and say, are they different projects or the same? I was going to have maybe one of them the same and the rest different, but I might have to reconsider that if someone is thinking of signing up for both. So just a little information about that class. Then something that's happening tomorrow is the Designer Series paper sale. So I shared this flyer in my newsletter. So these are all the designer papers that will be on sale. They're all found in the annual catalog, but they're not all the papers in the annual catalog. So I would suggest going to my website tomorrow. If you didn't download the link in the last newsletter, I'll try to put the link up again. And then looking up these, and the best way to find them, I find, is to go in the index of the annual catalog, and under paper and packaging, and down here, Designer Series paper, you can find the names here and look there. But what I like to do, this is just me, but what I like to do, I like to enter the number or the name in the online store and then scroll through. You see the papers sheet by sheet if you scroll through. So that's what works for me. And if you want to have a really good gander at that paper, and as you're making your choices, because you're going to be able to save 15% off, that's another thing. I am using this paper here tonight, and I have to show you. Sorry, I just buried it. This is all that I have left. So guess what I need to replenish tomorrow. And this has been on my list, and I keep forgetting to order it. So I have got my list started. I've been flying through some of these others as well. So take a good look at your designer paper and see if you're needing anything. Just a heads up there. So also, this mini catalog, we call it the Holiday Mini sometimes, or the September to December mini catalog. Demonstrators have it in their hot little hands right now. And you can see that I've got lots of tabs, and I could have a whole lot more. Demonstrators get to order from this starting tomorrow. You as customers can start to order in September. There's wonderful stuff in here. So if you haven't already requested your catalog and you live in Canada, make sure you reach out to me. If you live outside of Canada, reach out to the demonstrator that you work with, or just reach out to Stampin' Up. Okay, so I just need to start something up here. I asked you a question, where do you get your ideas? And I am going to show you where I got the idea for tonight's card. I'm going to use my QR code here. Whoops, helps if I get it in the camera. There we go. I usually use my phone. So now I've got this little link popping up. So there it's working. It's going to my website. And depending what device you're on, look for the 3 lines. On my iPad, it's right here, so I'll click there. And the drop-down menu shows me Shop Now. So I'm going to go there. And I am going to, under the shopping, there are 3 lines again. So 3 lines, they're like magic. I want to look at my online exclusives because I found my idea there. So let's scroll. Ooh, looking at this, tomorrow there are going to be some new kits released. You just might want to be checking it out. So see this sample right here? This is the sample that inspired me. I found my idea for tonight's card in the online exclusives. Now, when you bring up one of the online exclusives, don't forget to keep scrolling because it will show the close-up, but it shows other ideas as well. So you can see all kinds of ideas, and that's exactly what happens with the designer paper too. You can flip through and see it page by page. So there's a little hint as to where I found my idea for tonight's card. So first off, and getting used to it, I just copied. Just in from camping, Maggie. Whoa, I hope you were able to stay dry. I hope you had some of the good weather we had as well. And welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. So here is the card that I just basically copied exactly from the online exclusive sample. So we're going to put that there. And we're going to bring in what I asked you. I gave you a choice yesterday on Facebook. I said, what cardstock base, if I was using, as you saw, I only have scraps of this paper, what would you use for a cardstock base? And guess what? It was almost tied. Not quite, but almost tied between all 3 colors. Lost Lagoon was just the leader by a smidge. And then Anne, oh, I've forgotten Anne's name. I had it written down, but of course I buried the paper. She suggested using one of these as a matting layer. So putting a layer in here as a mat, perhaps. And I quite liked that idea. So we're going to go with this, and then you're going to choose the matting layer. So let's just keep that there. So you might be saying, well, what did you use to make these shapes? Well, I used these dies, the Greetings of the Season dies. I've used them a lot lately, so they are wonderful. They create all kinds of different shapes. They also have the hole in them, and they make great tags. I'm in the middle of designing a tag class, but there's different ways of camouflaging the holes. If you don't want to use them, you can put an embellishment over them. You can see here, you can't see any of the holes there, and yet they're all made with these. So this was here, and it's just cut off. And these are just strategically placed. So we used this one here, this one here, this one here. So this one, where am I at? Here. And then we used this one here. So those are the dies that Stampin' Up used, and I used the exact same ones, and I'm going to use them on the other samples tonight too. So those are what I used, and I cut out these shapes here. Whoops, here we go, like that. So let's bring in, you chose Lost Lagoon for the base. And if we follow this idea, we're going to use Lost Lagoon as the top layer too, but we're going to use Anne's idea and put something in between. So here are your choices. Should we put, let me just grab them all here. Should we put Pretty Peacock? I'm just going to put these on top because if you're like me, you need the visual. There we go. So should we put Pretty Peacock? Whoops. Crumb Cake. I have two more choices. Highland Heather or Basic White. So let me just see if I can do that for you here. So Basic White, Highland Heather, Crumb Cake, or Pretty Peacock. What do you think should be the middle layer there? Highland Heather is the first one I saw, and followed by Pretty Peacock. Either would be a really good choice. Well, I saw Highland Heather first, so we will go with that one. We'll move these out of the way. And I'm going to cut this down. So this layer here is our regular 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold that. And this layer here is 3 3/4 by 5. So we can cut this so it's got a narrow border or a wider border. So you could either cut it at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 or 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to do 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And just have a narrow pop of color popping through. There's a good question. Are you someone who likes narrow borders or wider borders, or do you like a mix? I kind of like having a narrow one and then a little wider. So it's going to go like that. And I thought, well, we could add a little bit of interest to this layer. We could do that a couple of ways. We can add interest by stamping on it. I could stamp an image on there with Lost Lagoon, just randomly sort of make my own designer paper, or I could bring in an embossing folder. So here's another choice for you. Should I use the layering florals? So florals or dashing designs? Florals or dashing? Which should I use? Florals or dashing? And I'll bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Florals or dashing? Dashing it is. Okay. So the dashing design is a new one that was in, that's in the annual catalog. And it's one, it's more and more, it's kind of become my go-to. I just really like the overall design, and it's really, I don't know, it's just kind of works for a lot of things. So it's a 3D embossing folder, so you need just the platform, so layer number 1. Then you need your embossing folder with the fold going in first, and then you need the specialty plate, which is plate number 4. So we'll do that. Out of the way. Look at that. Doesn't that really add to it compared to how it looked before? So we'll move these, and we're actually going to start to build our card here. We're going to put these 2 layers together. I like the debossed side too. There we go. So we've got this narrow layer here, a little bit of blue. And it's our choice whether we want to put it on dimensionals or not. When in doubt, I always use dimensionals. So away we go here. Being quite generous. Oh well, I've got a really sticky finger here. It's giving me a bit of grief. Everything's sticking to it. There we go. Does that ever happen to you? You get sticky fingers, but you don't want to stop. And if you only stop and clean your hands, then life would be so much easier, right? So here we go. We've got it like this. And we're just centering it. So this so far is a pretty basic card. Neat color combination. Okie dokie, we're going to bring in these pieces here. Now on this one, it was Christmas. And where did I just put? I can lose things faster. Oh, there they are. So these two come as a bundle. These are online exclusives. So like that, but there's another stamp set that I think you're going to really want to get along with it. And we're going to use that tonight. And that is Everyday Greetings. So number one, these also fit in all of these. But number two, as I've mentioned before, these two work well together. Like, for example, happy is here. We've got happy in a script and happy in a block letters, but birthday's over here and anniversary's over here. So you can mix and match, and you can multiply the number of choices you have just by doing that. So we're casing a Christmas card, but we're actually going to make a birthday card. So I've taken this happy from here, from Greetings of the Season, and I've paired it with birthday from here. So I've already got those mounted, and they're right here like that. And what color ink? I think I'm actually going to use Pretty Peacock ink, just because it still goes with the colors and it's nice and dark. So let's try that. So I'm stamping this before I cut it, before I assemble the card, for a couple of reasons. If I make a mistake, I have options, right? And it just is going to help me figure out where to cut this off and all that kind of thing. So I'm using my grid on my glass mat, or you can have your grid paper too, whatever, to help me line things up. And birthday, I'm going to put down here. I love the script on that. And then I'm going to ink up happy and just put it here. Isn't that fun to have that contrast? I just love it. So I'm going to close this up right now and put that to the side. Now, if I follow the pattern on here, we're going to embellish the top somehow. So when I cut it, I want to leave a little bit of space here. Don't want to cut it right down. And I'm going to do it at 2 1/4. If it's too much, I can always cut more off afterwards, right? And so I've got that left over, and we've got this. So let's start to think. This is going to go here, and I'm going to hide the circle. This is going to go, about here. And I really just looked at what the artists at Stampin' Up did. So to me, this was about halfway in here, and just about like that. And this is going to go here. Oh, those are pretty colors together. I just love that. Okay, I'm going to stick it down now that I have my plan. How many of you have this Perennial Lavender Designer Paper? I don't think there's a piece in it that I don't absolutely love. So you can see, looking at the backs here, they're absolutely gorgeous too. This pattern here is likely one of my favorites, although I say that about every one of them. So anyway, so the unbounded love dies too, we made different layers with them, and it just looks really neat to have the different shapes layered. And then this is going to go about here. So let's see what we will do for an embellishment. So we could tie some linen thread around. Ooh, that looks pretty nice. Linen thread. Or we've got the Essentials twine pack here, and we've got this color here. I don't know, what do you think? Linen thread? I'm leaning towards linen thread. I think I'll just go with that. But we had other options there too, so we could have done that as well. So just fasten that in so it doesn't unravel on me. And let's see, I think I will wrap this around a couple of times. So do I need to take any more off of there? Might be a bit tall. I think I might just take a little bit more. That, again, is just a personal preference and one that you will play around with. Have any of you looked at this sample in the online exclusives and thought about doing it, or am I the only one whose eye was caught by it? So what I'm doing here is just putting some tear and tape down to put the ends of my twine in. Wrap it around a couple of times. Make it crisscross and come back in. Snip it off. I just personally find it easier to tie the bow separately and then just stick it on. Oh, somebody else has the Perennial Lavender and love it. Oh, yes, kindred spirit there. And I'm not even that big of a purple fan, but there's something about that combo of colors that really gets me. There we go. Get this out of the way, and I think we will put it right about there. So we'll bring in a mini glue dot, kind of roll it up so it isn't quite so big. Stick it in. And just like that, we've got it like this. And then we're going to put it on here with dimensionals. So we'll bring in our dimensionals. And then all we'll have left to do is embellish it. So I found that once I figured out how to make this card here, I could recreate it over and over again with so many different papers, and it works great with your scraps. And yeah, I think I'll put it right there. There we go. How many are liking it? What do you think? Then what I'm going to bring in is the fine purple shimmer gems. So they come in, I think it's Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and I think it's Blackberry Bliss there. But again, even though I'm not a big purple person, I have found I have used these a lot. So let's just see, where shall we put these? The purples go better, I think, than the Blackberry Bliss, so we'll concentrate on that. Let's put one, we'll put one there. We'll put, oops, I'm going to use this one, put one here, and we'll put another one up here. And just like that, we have that card totally cased from this online exclusive here. So let me show you some other ideas I had. So because you were just torn between Pretty Peacock, Highland Heather, Lost Lagoon, I wanted to make the same card using the same papers, but with the Highland Heather. And I used the Pretty Peacock layer in between. So here's the exact same card. I just switched it up because so many of you were leaning towards this one as well. I wanted to show you what it looked like. Now, did I do... Oh, do you know what I did? I better finish this one off. I took the dies and I took this die here. I'll just show it to you. I won't do it right now. And I cut out just a little piece of the scrap of designer paper. So I just went like that, cut it out, and then added that on the inside and added a bit more Pretty Peacock on the inside as well. So that's what how I did the inside of that. So here is the jumping off point, the inspiration. Here's what we made tonight. Here is pretty similar, but with just different colors. And then I have been on the metallic kick, and I've been encouraging you to experiment with the metallics. So I had to make one with metallics too, right? So here it is with the metallics. Then I used all three colors from the textured metallics and did it like that. And I have to say, I am loving the new embossing powders, the Wow embossing powders. They are amazing. Now on this one, I didn't want to put a whole layer of gold around because I just thought, oh, I didn't want to waste that much. So I just put a little piece of gold here and a little piece of gold here. And if you notice the embossing folder, I used the changing leaves, but I used the debossed side instead of the embossed side. So just another way of doing it. So thank you very much, Anne, for suggesting to put layers in between there. Here are the three versions, and this one was the inspiration. So don't be afraid to look at the online exclusives and just browse through them just like you would the catalog and look for ideas, because those artists, they do that for a living. So I think it's just wonderful, wonderful. So if you like that, make sure to give a thumbs up, or wherever you're watching from. If you need any help with purchasing any of these things, reach out. Or if you want to know how I did something, remember the PDF for the card we made tonight will be in Thursday's newsletter. So that is an advantage to being signed up for my newsletter, is that you always get the PDF with all the measurements and what we used. And happy shopping tomorrow in the next few days as you save some money on the designer paper that's on sale. Thanks everybody for coming, and take care. Bye-bye.